What's up, y'all? Welcome to this month's training. As you guys are popping in here, trickling into this month's training, pop in the comments box. Let us know, number one, that you're here. Let me know where you're calling in from. Who are you? What's your name? Where are you calling in from? What type of business are you in? We just went live a few seconds ago. So guys, pop in the comments box. Would absolutely love to welcome you into this training. Who are you? Where are you calling in from? And what type of business do you run? What's up, Chris? Good to see you, buddy. I was just thinking about you this morning, man. I was just thinking about you this morning because as we're heading into the agency market, we're working with the guy who is growing in the pool contractor business. I'm like, we need to work with Chris, connect with you on the contractor agency side of things. We got some exciting things cranking. What's up, Clay? Awesome. Welcome. Canadian. I love it. We have lots of Canadian customers, actually. What's up? Amazing. What's up, Tony? Good to see you from Columbus. Aaron from Sacramento. Awesome, Aaron. Good to see you. We haven't talked in a long time. We should connect. Amazing. Always thinking about you guys. Beautiful. Jack from Maine. Jeff from Philadelphia. Kevin from Florida. What's up, Kevin? Kevin Clancy. Beautiful. Mike from Southern California. Awesome, guys. Cody, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Guys, pop in the comments box. Who are you? Where are you calling in from? What type of business you're in? And what today's training is going to be about, we've been diving into AI search quite a bit this last 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And we wanted to kind of bring people into, well, what about normal traditional Google search? Now, they are very intertwined, as we'll briefly touch on today, but we are going to dive into what have we seen recently with the Google algorithm updates, the last couple here in, let's say, December primarily. And now that we're a few months into that update, how have things shaken out? What are a few of the key things that you need to be doing to make sure that you're really stepping forward and winning in 2026, going into 2027 with the Google algo updates? Now, what we're not going to talk about today, guys, we're not going to go into detail of every single little thing that you can do. We're going to kind of tackle some of the macro things, because one thing that can get hard as a person diving in and doing your own SEO is if we give you 35 things to do, you're probably not going to go do any of them. But if we give you 3 or 4 to do, then you can notch away some wins today and then come back for next month's training and notch away a few more. I'm going to introduce you to an amazing a guy, brand new team member named Eric, but he's not brand new to SEO, not brand new to real estate. We've been working with him for a good little while. And Eric's going to be digging into this topic with me big time. And I'll introduce you guys fully to Eric here in a bit. But thank you guys. Welcome in. What's up, D from Miami? D, one thing I absolutely love is you show up to everything. So continue showing up. Showing up is half the battle. Executing is the other half. What's up, Richard? Good to see you. Amazing. So I'm going to show my screen and we're just going to dive in. I want to respect y'all's time. This training, we want to have a lot of Q&A at the end. So what I want you guys to do is ready your website URLs, get them ready. Don't post them through yet. But we will have Q&A, and we hope to dive into a number of y'all's websites and just give some quick feedback on a couple things that you might be able to execute. But what we've seen is even with our AI search trainings, we have the 3-day AI SEO challenge that we do towards the last part of each month. We did our first one, I think it was in November. And we've seen so many amazing, amazing results that have happened from people who have executed just what we teach in the AI search challenge. So if you have not joined one of our AI search challenges, or let's say it's been a few months since you've done one, we've been running them each month. It's $27 is all. I'll talk about it here in a bit. You get 6 AI tools that accelerates the work. You get live sessions. If you do VIP, it's $100. You get those 6 AI tools. You get our customer review machine. You get all the recordings. You get a 4th VIP day. We'll talk about it. The reason I even mentioned it is because everything that we teach on the AI SEO things, the past 3 to 4 months worth of webinars and our AI search challenge helps with what we're going to be talking about today. So when you execute those well, it helps with overall SEO, which we'll talk about. But guys, today we're going to dig into what we're deeming Google's authenticity update. Why those generic investor websites are losing and what Google wants in 2026. And Eric's going to dig in and kind of do a little bit of a review on the latest algo update from December, what we've seen at a macro level across Carrot sites, where we're seeing some winners and where we're seeing some that are not winning, and what you guys can do to get ahead of that. All right. So digging into this, let me go down here. There we go. I'm on the right spot now. What we've been teaching a lot, like I mentioned, is this. This is our 5 layers of LLM optimization model. And what we're going to be digging into today is related to this, but what we're going to be talking about is purely from the Google organic search side of things. Okay. And when you start to execute these things, we are seeing leads growing. This is from the AI side of things, which once again, we're not focusing on that today, but Jeff Falali, who had a chance to join us in one or two of our AI search challenges, he posted this in the Facebook group. And these are bonkers results. These aren't normal. But he went from his Carrot site bringing in 5 to 10 leads a week. These are sellers. So in 1 week, a couple months after the AI search challenge, this is the cool thing. This is why I mentioned this on an SEO call, is when you do the things that we've been teaching the last several months, it helps with normal organic SEO as well. But he said after doing that, he saw a pretty big increase in his organic leads. The past 7 days from posting this, he had 45 leads. Most of those were sellers. Of those, 26 of the 45 were from ChatGPT. But here's the part that's interesting for today's call. He said the other 19 were a mix of Google and other SEOs and direct type-ins. So his organic Google rankings and leads climbed as well. And it's related to some of the things we're going to talk about today, right? With the AI search leads we've been talking about, we do see a little bit of a higher conversion. But here's the rub. When we talk about evergreen marketing, which is something that we've been the pioneer of, we've driven that forward. You know, we own the evergreenmarketing.com website that we're going to be building out this year, and hopefully a book coming soon. What we're talking about is how do you grow that consistent, predictable, momentum-building lead flow for your business, whether you're a real estate investor or an agent or a plumber or an HVAC or an agency that's going to be helping people. We're not talking about hamster wheel marketing that goes up and down. We're talking about stacking those evergreen bricks. And for me in 2026, it's AI search, Google search combined into one. So the biggie, even though we've been hitting AI search hard this last 3 to 4 months, I want you guys to know that organic SEO is still king. Okay. Organic SEO is still king. I took this screenshot this morning from the past 30 days worth of data in our Carrot platform. And when we look at the overall conversions, I'm talking about online conversions of sellers. These are just sellers here. We're not talking about all the buyer leads and all the tenant leads and all the other types of leads that come in. These are just motivated house sellers. So 34.6% of all of the leads, this isn't traffic, this is leads in our platform the last 30 days, are still from organic search. Now, paid search has grown. We're going to be looking at a paid search and Google PPC deep dive training here in the next couple months, maybe next month in one of these webinars. So keep an eye out because that's growing in impact and importance. Organic social is kind of down here a little bit. Direct type in from a lot of your offline marketing. That shows how important your website is, or what I call your hub of trust is with your offline marketing. But organic search is still the dominant king as far as leads goes. We have talked about search changing. The last several months, we've been talking about the right side of this, the organic or the LLM. We're just going to go all the way back over to the left side of this and go, cool, let's recenter back on the home of what Carrot is known for and where you guys dominate. And like I've been mentioning, I actually am enjoying the new world of search because it's rewarding the right things. It's rewarding the things we've been teaching for 10 plus years. And it's a lot harder to game the system. So last little thought here before we dig into some of the meat. For those of you who are new, pop in the comments box. I'd love to know who is new to the Carrot ecosystem. Who's new? Who's on here? It's your first time tapping into a piece of Carrot content. First time on one of our Carrot monthly trainings. Pop in the comments box if it's your first time. I would absolutely love to welcome you into the Carrot community. And I see so many people's names in here that I know have came back for their second, third, 10th, 20th time. You guys are executing and getting results. But pop in if it's your first time in the Carrot community. We'd love to welcome you. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome on in. What's up, DC Premier? So when we talk about overall Google organic and how the Google algo updates have impacted things, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay. And I've mentioned this in previous calls, but I want to get everybody on the same page here in case you've been learning from other resources out there and you're not caught up on it. Google SEO done well and AI SEO, meaning getting mentioned or cited in ChatGPT and other systems like that. They're not two completely separate lines of thinking that just have a little connection in the middle. The way that I look at AI SEO is it's actually a bubble within the overall Google organic. And when you do the things that work for AI SEO in general, those are things that work for Google SEO as well. Okay. So we want to look at them as one and the same here. And the cool thing is, like I said, while we've been pushing hard on AI SEO because we know that that's where things are going, at some point, Google's going to flip a switch and Google SEO is going to be AI mode. AI mode is going to be the standard mode of a Google search eventually. Now, I think for localized searches, like what you guys are going after, you're marketing for a specific local prospect who's looking for a local solution. We're finding that those are probably going to be types of searches that are going to be turning into AI mode only later. I think those are going to be later down the road versus your more informational searches. How to do blah, blah, blah. We're going to see those turning into AI mode default way sooner. And so we've got some time, but that's why we pressed hard in AI search this last 4 to 5 months to get you ahead. But let's go back once again to the root where the majority of the traffic is still coming from. So the potential of being able to grow in Google organic. I was reading a bigger pockets thread the other day, actually last night. And there was this bigger pockets thread of this guy who posted in there engaging with them. And it was basically talking about organic search. And he was a Carrot customer and he was trying to execute some things and was kind of getting behind on it. And there were some comments that came in this last week. And someone said, hey, don't waste your time on organic search. Organic search is a fraud. And they basically said organic search is only for the people selling courses and selling tools to help you go out there and do it. It doesn't really benefit any local investor. And so, guys, if you're hearing any of that advice with people saying, oh my gosh, Google organic search or AI SEO, it's only going to work for a few people. It doesn't work for the majority. I can tell you guys that the playing field is level for anybody willing to put in the time, investment, and or work. Jeremy Resmer is not he's not an SEO expert. Jeremy started doing SEO using his Carrot site. He can go out there and build custom sites. He's done that in the past with other businesses, but he's brought everything into Carrot because it's easier, less cost, better performance, less hassle. He can focus on being an investor. And he sent me this text message coming into 2026. He said, hey, been watching the AI content after we started those webinars. Just listen. Let's pop down. He said this year, which was 2025, was the first year that SEO generated over $1 million in assignment fees. We want to stay on top as tech keeps evolving. I don't think most investors understand how powerful Carrot really is. And this is a screenshot of one of his websites generating 151 seller leads in this small amount of time, converting crazy, almost 30%. Guys, here's the deal. Organic SEO is not just for 1, 2, 3 people in a market. With AI search, it's expanded so more people can enjoy the benefits of it. But even a guy like Jeremy, who's not techie, who hasn't been online for 10 plus years, he was able to grow that business to $1 million in assignment fees, and it took him about 24 months to do so. So the opportunity, I think, is actually getting bigger, not smaller. So in this training, we're going to review the kind of late 2025 Google algorithm updates and what they were focused on. I'm going to turn it over to Eric at that point. I'll introduce you to Eric here in a second. We're going to talk about some of the sites that rewarded and some of the sites that took a hit and why. And so we're not going to show a lot. We're just going to show a couple examples of each and showing you, hey, here's some things that they did right. You might want to do these. And here's some things that these ones are going to need to change. You want to look out for those. Okay. And then we're going to give you 3 simple actions that anybody can take to get on the right side of Google in 2026. Now, there might be 14 actions you could take over the next 90 days. In this training, we're just going to give you a few. And we want to be able to have you just go execute a couple things, come back in a few weeks, in a month with some better results. This is coming out of our, what I'm deeming Carrot Labs. We research, we dive in. It's something we're really going to be spinning up and in a big way in April to go, how do we keep our clients ahead of the game? And so when you're looking at other website solutions, when you're looking at websites through all-in-one providers or even agencies in the market, the people who have the data, who have the experience, who are putting in the most reps to be able to see what actually converts, what actually ranks, what actually shows up, are the ones that are going to give you that advantage. And that's one of the things that Carrot, we have the biggest data set, the biggest user base to help give you an advantage. And Carrot Labs is going to bring you those advantages. So myself, if you guys are brand new to our community, my name's Trevor, CEO of this company called Carrot.com. We're going into year 12 or 13. We've been through this business. We haven't just been through this business. we pioneered what SEO is like and what websites are like in the entire real estate investor industry back in 2013, 2014. So when you look at how websites are done in this industry, almost everything you see came out of Carrot, came out of the ecosystem. And pretty much every agency that you see in this market also came out of the Carrot ecosystem. Okay, so if you want the nexus of where the innovation happens, you guys are plugged into the right spot. And millions and millions and millions of organic SEO seller and buyer leads have come through our platform. Eric, I'll toss over to you. Before I do, we had the pleasure of bringing Eric into the team full-time here just recently, but we've been working with him for a number of months. And one of the things I wanted to do heading into 2026 was I said, okay, we need to really beef up our internal manpower, internal expertise to innovate into the future even greater on the SEO side of things. And so we tapped our networks. We dove in. Eric's been running SEO for real estate companies for a long, long time. It's not something he just picked up a year or two ago or even 3 years ago. And we're fortunate to be able to bring him into the fold. And he's working with many of our clients and with our team as well. But Eric, welcome on initial Carrot training, man. Let people know a little bit about you and kind of where you came from.
Thank you, Trevor. It's fun to be here. It's a good time. I know we've got a great audience. You kind of ran through the bio just a little bit, but yeah, I've worked in SEO, specifically local SEO for real estate related industries. I've done a little bit of a lot, some multifamily, some self-storage, some construction, a lot of different disciplines, but always with that focus on local SEO and helping people rank. You mentioned that AI search has kind of changed the landscape a little bit, and it has a little bit. It's probably not the right word for it, but they work together, as you said.
Yep.
So that background in how to rank organically and then adapting it to the new world of AI is really exciting. It's really kind of what gets me up in the morning. So I'm happy to be here talking to the Carrot audience.
Love it. So at carrot.com, for those of you who are new, like I said, we mainly serve flippers, wholesalers, real estate agents, and increasingly so home service pros. We have our agency product that we're working on right now that will be coming out in Q2. So if you're an agency or you are an investor or a home service pro and you start to kind of like this online marketing thing and you want to go grow a business serving other local businesses, keep an eye out, because that's where we're going to be pushing into heavily in Q2, Q3, Q4 to really expand how we can impact people. But our clients have closed over $1 billion in deal volume across our years in business. So once again, guys, if you want to know where the results are happening, we're going to bring you that data. And what we really focus on here at Carrot is best of class tools. So you can go set up a website anywhere. You can go get SEO tools anywhere. You can go, get a CRM anywhere. We're purposefully not an all-in-one tool, and we don't want to be an all-in-one tool. We're saying we're going to give you the best results, the best of class, because when your average profit per deal is $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, losing one deal a year because of underperformance on speed or underperformance because you don't have the right knowledge, underperformance on the tech stack, underperformance on conversion, that affordable, free, cheap website just costs you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So we help you to stay ahead of the curve by keeping more of the profits in your pocket by getting that performance edge. Cool thing, guys. I haven't seen you guys claim these as much. I want you guys to start to claim, if you're a Carrot member, claim that free phone tracking number. Go set your local phone tracking number up and start using it. They're only $3 a month for extra ones. The reason I'm saying this is because here in a number of months, the information that's coming through those phone calls, we're going to be bringing some innovations that are going to be helping you turn that into content marketing, turn that into automated marketing for you. So the quicker you start to adopt our phone tracking system, when we roll out these features later this year attached to your phone calls and all the information coming through those, you're going to be equipped in a big way. And I mentioned it a bit ago. If you want deeper dive on this, we have our AI search challenge coming up here this next week. Just go to carrot.com/challenge. That's carrot.com/challenge. $27 to join us, 2 hours a day for those 3 days. If you want to join us for VIP, which gives you the recordings of all 3 days, plus a fourth VIP, just Q&A execution time with me. You get the 6 AI tools that we're going to be giving you. You get the customer review machine with VIP. and you get some other cool tools, guys. That alone can be an absolutely amazing value. And here's some of the results people are seeing by executing some of these things. Okay, did those minor tweaks and got 2 inbound leads today. Yesterday, I implemented some tricks, and we'll definitely keep going. Got a lead an hour ago. Guys, this stuff works quick. I was trying to do this on my own, and this now gives direction to what we need to do and how. Just wanted to share that we did a few tweaks to our GBP, which we teach on day 1, and within the last 12 hours, we got 4 leads. This is real stuff, guys. Okay, this is straight up screenshots from those calls. So the stuff works. If you want to join us for the next challenge, go to carrot.com/AI or /challenge. All right, great. So I think we're at this spot. Cool. I'm going to toss over to you now, Eric. And Braden, you can show Eric's screen, I believe. And we're going to dive in now to what did change, with Google's algo update. So toss over to you. What have you seen, Eric, from that December algo update, and kind of what's the history been this last number of years?
Yeah, so looking at the history in 2025, we had 3 confirmed Google core updates and 1 spam update. So we're going to focus on the core updates. Spam, we all kind of know what it is. The definition changes over time, but the core updates have all been centering recently. And this has been a pattern with Google for the last couple of years since the onset of artificial intelligence and large language models. It's been focusing on content quality. And actually, it's funny. I read the summary for what Google says their core update is about. They've all had almost the exact same verbiage. They said this update is about surfacing quality, relevant, and useful content to our users. So we need to unpack that just a little bit. So we're going to focus on the most recent one, which is the December core update, a very impactful update. Sometimes these updates, they come out and they don't really move the needle that much, right? It's Google just trying to refine a little bit, and then sometimes they have a big impact. So we definitely have seen, some sites that did great through this update, and we saw a few that really took a dive, unfortunately. So as we get into it, so as I mentioned, there was a core update that came through in March of 2025. We had another one around the June, July timeframe. And just for reference, where we see results from these is typically after it has completed. So if we have a confirmed Google core update, they'll say it's starting on this date and we're going to be done on this date. So you'll see the results after that fact. So again, March, June, there was a spam update in August, late August, early September. And then this most recent core update rolled out through the month of December. It finished on December 29th. So we kind of started to see the effects of it in January, in early 2026. So you'll actually see some people refer to this as the January core update. Officially, there wasn't one, but that's kind of when we started to see it. So that's why it's referred to that way. So at a high level, this specific update, again, as I mentioned, started on the 11th, rolled out all the way through the month of December, through the holidays, which made tracking it kind of interesting because the holidays are usually a little bit different time for search volume. Finished on December 29th, the highest amount of volatility. So people, moving around up and down in those rankings was for news publishers. Carrot websites specifically performed very well through this update. We were able to look, as you mentioned, we have a great big broad data set. So we were able to look at the Carrot universe as a whole. And, it's one of those things that we can look at and say, right, if we had something systemically wrong or something that, in our system overall was sideways with what Google is expecting now after this update, you'd see it. So I got to look at the data in detail. We have a little bit more in depth coming up. But overall, the Carrot universe did very well through this most recent Google update. So overall impact, and this is a little bit of information. This is a platform called SEMrush that we use, very useful for all kinds of digital marketing. But what we're looking at overall is changes in ranking position. And again, this is, as you mentioned, kind of our traditional search, right? The organic list. So tracking this through that time frame all the way through December, through early January. Again, if we had something systemically wrong or that had gotten crossways with what Google is looking for, we'd see it in the data. And the good news is for all of our Carrot customers or anyone thinking about joining us, we didn't see that. We saw a nice even trend. again, going through the holidays is sometimes an interesting time because, interest in, these big meaty topics sometimes falls off a little bit because people are celebrating, right? You don't necessarily want to think about, construction work or selling a home or whatever it is during that time. You want to focus on family and good times. So we typically see a little bit of change during that time. But as far as rankings go, we didn't see any big upset due to this update.
And one interesting thing there too, Eric, is you'll see guys there at that December 19th, 20th. I mean, that is right before the holidays, like you mentioned. But then the overall results towards the right side of it, that January 6th and on, is higher than it was at the start of December. And so that kind of shows a little bit of a reward, or it could be that front part of the year boost as well. But that's really cool. Is seeing a net either neutral or net positive, is that's what we look at from the overall platform side of things, which is cool.
Yeah, and to tie into that, so these are position changes. So it's improvement in ranking, and that's right when you want to see it, is coming out of that holiday season, right? So because during that holiday season, there's a little less visibility on it. Coming out of that holiday season, when people do start to turn to the more, life-changing topics, having those rankings improve then is a win. It's a bonus.
I love it.
The other piece that I wanted to mention when we're talking specifically about impact on Carrot, we know that sometimes there can be low quality traffic or sometimes even bot traffic when we're talking about organic. So what I took a look at when we were analyzing this is scroll depth. And what I'm talking about, and it's a little bit of a technical wonky topic, but Google Analytics will allow us to look at how far a user scrolled down the page. It's an indication that a user found that page valuable and engaging if they scrolled all the way through and took in most of the content. So I took a look at that metric as well, just to make sure that we continue to have high quality traffic. And as we can see, you got a little bit of a dip right around that holiday time. But again, the trend going into January has been up and to the right. So not just more traffic, not just better rankings, but more quality traffic and engagement. So what's new in this update? Google is moving explicitly to people first content. So Google's documentation, I'm actually a big enough nerd about this that I've read Google's search rater guidelines, but that emphasizes helpful, reliable, people first content. And their systems prioritize pages that demonstrate, and there's an acronym, and I'll unpack the acronym a little bit, but it's EEAT, and satisfy search intent better than other pages, right? So that's what they want to promote. That's what they want to rank well. So here's the definition of a high converting page, right? Does this answer exactly what the person came for in a way that makes them feel confident about taking the next step, right? So about converting, about becoming a lead if they're thinking about it. So Google and deranking pages. So what causes those ranking declines? And we've got a couple of charts coming up in our slides, but signals of poor authenticity. A lot of people have kind of dubbed this the authenticity update. It's not what Google officially calls it, but it's a good description. So signals of poor authenticity. If we've got duplicated content on a lot of our pages on one domain, we have kind of the same patterns that repeat. It doesn't seem very authentic. It doesn't seem like someone really took the time to write and think about the content of that page. Another signal is no firsthand experience, no specific examples, no, how does this relate to the real world? Kind of a more salesy type language, if we want to call it that, right? We want to stay away from kind of vague, references and really get to the meat of it. The same way that you'd have a conversation with a friend, right? They'd tell you about what they did or how they did it versus just kind of giving you generic language. Vague references. So something like, oh, according to experts, or people say, or industry sources say. And I have to admit, I fall into this trap sometimes myself when I'm writing about something. But that kind of vague, mushy language is a signal of less authenticity than if you cite actual sources for what you're talking about, right? So if you've done a content piece on, the real estate market in Tampa Bay, Florida, or something like that, citing the sources for the data that you refer to or the assertions that you make is more valuable than just kind of leaving it vague. The other thing that is a signal of poor authenticity, content publishing pace spikes. And this is kind of a technical one, but if you think about it, if you haven't been producing content regularly, and you can produce content at whatever pace you feel like you have valuable content to offer, but if you've been producing a blog post a quarter, and all of a sudden you produce 15 in a quarter, that's a signal that they may not be as authentic as your previous work. And a lot of times, the reason for that is that someone has decided to use a large language model, throw a topic in, have the LLM summarize a lot of information that's already out there, and then pop that in as a blog post or as a new page. It's something that Google wants to move away from. And I have a quote actually here from John Mueller. He is high up in Google search. He said, "Our systems don't care if content is created by AI or created by humans. What matters is that it's helpful to users." And I think that's really the focus that we want to pay attention to when we talk about this update. You can use AI as a tool for writing, but you have to maintain human expertise and human quality control to have that content rank well.
One thing I want to piggyback on what you're mentioning there, Eric. So we've got inside of our system, y'all, we have our AI content tool. And let me show you guys this really quick. Braden, flip over to my screen, and I'll toss back over to you, Eric. Because as you're using AI, like Eric was saying, AI is a good thing to accelerate, but we can't just have generic AI content coming out, because that's where AI will be able to spit out really knowledgeable content, but it isn't specific to you. And so if you log into the back end of your Carrot site and you go to the settings tab, and this is something that we've been kind of pushing people into more and more. If you want to leverage our AI content writer, there's this business description box right here. And you can go into ChatGPT or whatever your favorite AI tool is and just say, hey, I want a 500-word description about my business. I want to use it for an AI content tool. Ask me some questions that will help make this description powerful for an AI content tool. To make the content custom for my business, and then answer those, and it's going to give you a 500-word description. Copy and paste that in here, right? Because now you're going to have custom information about your business. So if you want to use our tool to quickly customize some of that content, now I wouldn't suggest that you use this to go rewrite entire pages and just leave it without being edited. I'm more talking if there's a paragraph or two where you just want to be able to quickly go through and edit some of this stuff. Let's say you want to take these bullet points in this section here and rewrite it. You can click the AI tool, personalize, and then it's going to go grab that information from that description, and then it's going to write it in a better way that is a little bit more custom to you. Now, like I said, like Eric was saying, I would still take a human pass at it and say, where can I add in information that's specific? Where can I add in better photos? We'll talk about that here in a bit. But I just want to bring that in, that we have a tool, but also make sure to pair it with the business description box to make it so it's not just generic content.
Yeah, kind of adding on to what you said, Trevor. A good way to think about it is, you as a business owner, as a marketer, as an investor, you are always going to know the details of your business better than an AI bot will. So, use that AI tool to assist, but use your knowledge to really dial it in and make it impactful. So looking at this slide here, we're looking at kind of the shift in what the Google algorithm is looking for from last year to this year. So a couple of points that I wanted to highlight. The dot number 2 under old Google, under search intent. So having keywords that match the query, that's kind of the old way that Google used to do things, right? Because it didn't have the depth of knowledge to really understand the content and how it was relevant to a user. It would look at, what did they search for, and does that phrase appear on the page at a very basic level. They've refined it over the years, but going into what the new algorithm is looking for now is search intent, and really giving a full answer to the question that the user asked. If we think about how AI summaries work, or how the answers that you would get from a ChatGPT or a Claude work, they answer very detailed questions in a very detailed way. So what Google understands now that that's the expectation. And so that's what they're looking for in content that they rank well, is, giving us a full answer to that user's question or query. The other piece, and as we just mentioned, AI content, it's bullet number 3 on both sides there. AI content worked if edited? No, sure it did. And it still can up to a point, but AI content in the new Google needs to add real value and experience. And I know I mentioned it on an upcoming slide, but Google can summarize things itself. It doesn't need us to do it for them. So if we provide content that Google couldn't easily summarize on its own, that's, kind of just aggregated from a bunch of other places, but that is unique to our experience, to our firsthand knowledge, to our, work in our market, that's the content that really adds value and will rank well going forward. I'm going to go ahead and move on. There are other items on here that are still relevant, but that's really the bones of what this update has changed. So, old versus new, to kind of break it down just a little bit. So the old, you could use an LLM to write and publish a blog post that just summarizes what someone has already written, right? LLMs are great for that. If you were trying to write a report on what someone else has written, or to summarize it, or take the content of a long book and say, give me the meat of this, give me the highlights. LLMs are great at doing that work. They're less good at creating something new, right? They can take information that's there and package it differently, but they can't create things on their own. You can create things on your own. So new, use an LLM to assist your writing of firsthand experiences or expertise. And I think that's really the biggest thrust of this new update, is that it wants unique content. If it's going to rank something, it wants something that's unique to you and your business and your market. Moving on, old, duplicating content across multiple pages and just making kind of a small change, right? Kind of saying the exact same thing, but saying it about a different place or a different market. That doesn't work as well as the new, which is to write content that's unique to the focus and purpose of each page, right? So again, if we're talking about, we have a big market that we work in, but we also have a suburb or a secondary market that we want to, make sure we're getting leads from, write unique content about that place, right? Talk about what makes it unique. Talk about, when the housing was built. Talk about a historic district. Talk about the work you have done in that area specifically. Even, you can go as far as saying, talk about your favorite place that you stopped for a coffee break in the middle of the day. Just make it relevant to that specific place and focus. And then last, and this one, seems pretty simple. It seems straightforward, but we see it over and over again. Using stock images versus real images of people and places. And a lot of times, when a website gets built, we'll put stock images in there because we're waiting for the real content, because we want to get things done quickly. We want to give users what they want in, the time frame they're expecting. But we want to make sure that we, do the quality control and circle back. If we're talking about a real place, we want a picture of that place. If we're talking about a real person, and boy, I hope we are, you want a picture of that person. And I added in parentheses there, describe them in your image alt text. Image alt text is kind of a technical detail, but what it is a way that you describe what's in that image. When you describe it, you also tell a search engine or an AI bot what that's about. And that's an added signal that can help you with ranking, and it helps you with authenticity.
Eric, one really cool thing too that we've got coming up. I don't know if you even had a chance to see this, because this isn't out yet, but we're trying to make it easy for everyone to optimize their images. And so there's a feature, I saw the demo of it a week or two ago internally, where we're going to be able to have an image optimization page, and it's going to go through and show you all the images that don't have alt text, the images that need optimization in other ways. It's going to make it really easy for y'all to do that. So keep an eye out for some of these updates, because as we see things being updated in the market, we're pulling back and saying, okay, how can we help you guys do that at scale much easier? So keep an eye out for that one, because I'm even looking through that example site I was just showing, the Simply Sold. There's a bunch of it, and they're ranking great, but there's a bunch of images where alt text is brutal. It's house-5. And that's all there's in there, or no alt text at all. And those little things matter. So keep an eye out, guys. We're going to make those things easier for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had mentioned, ranking great. And that's the thing, is you can be ranking great. Do you want to rank any better? Those details matter, right? Position 1 versus position 2, or position 3 versus position 6. Those are important details. So take the time and use the tools that Carrot provides to really dial it in. The last thing I'll say on this slide, as I was kind of digesting all of this update, there was one phrase that really stood out to me, was think a little bit less about a sales pitch and a little bit more about a job interview. So when we're talking about authenticity, if you think about a job interview, that's where you would list out, here's my experience, here are all my qualifications, here's the work that I've done in the past. If you don't have a lot of experience, if you're new, every job interview I've been on says, what's your vision? Where do you see yourself in the next 2 to 5 years? And take that and kind of adapt it to your business and your market. But like I say, think a little bit less about selling and a little bit more about interviewing, about someone wanting to hire you to do their work. All right, moving on. There we go. We've got some examples of sites that, did pretty well, and some sites that didn't. And then we've taken a little bit of a look at why, and kind of related them to this most recent update. So we've got some winners. So site number 1, traffic almost doubled after that update, which is great performance, right? Anybody that, is out there looking to rank organically, if you are doubling in traffic. And I love traffic metrics because it incorporates both ranking and click-through, right? So, it's great if you rank well, but if no one's clicking through, you didn't really accomplish the whole mission, right? So if we look at traffic numbers, we look at, you must have ranked well and people found your message compelling and clicked through. So for site number 1, traffic almost doubled after that update. We look again, this does reflect ranking. So this is the number of keywords that they're ranking well for. And you can see the clear trend up and to the right. And it actually continued well into March on this particular chart. So why they won? A detailed, specific Our Company page that incorporates some of the things that we just described. Things like having a picture of, the actual people that work at the business. Things like, did you want to click into that one, Trevor, and show them the example?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I'll dig into their side. And this is just one example I'm going to share here. Oh, there, Braden. Can you pop over to my screen? There we go. Cool. This is one example. Now we could share a bunch of examples, but this is just one. Now, if they give like good, better, best, I would put this kind of in the better group, right? There's ones I've seen that are far better than this, or kind of towards the top end. But at the high end, this site has seen dramatic increases. Now, there's a couple big things that this site did. Number one is this site had a lot of different things going on it a year ago. It had property management content. It had a bunch of other content. It did have some NAP issues, which Eric's going to talk about later. But one of the things that they did is they really dove deep and said, let's build in localized content. Let's really nail the about page. And so definitely have a section that talks about you, talks about the owner, whatever you're going to do there. Talk about your experience in the area, right? Show that you've purchased homes, and you're just not talking about that you have that. You can see he's been a part of 1,600 deals. He's been doing it since this amount of time. Really dig into your experience there. Now, these aren't new things, but we're hammering them over and over and over again because they're things Google's looking for, and we still find a lot of people are not putting these on their sites. So we're going to hammer it until everybody's got it, and then we'll move on to the next things. And we'll always add in kind of a new thing that most people aren't doing as well. You talk about the background, talk about what you do, but this is one thing I'd encourage you guys to do if you haven't yet is put your team members on there as well. It really adds to that depth and that breadth. And do the same thing. And you can see this isn't a complicated one. You could put videos on this. You could do other things. I could show other ones that are even better. Aaron Pennington, who's on here, your guys is with Laurel by Houses, is probably up in that best box. So you guys are doing a great job there. But at the very least, do something like this with how long you've been in business, what types of deals you do, your background, things like that.
Yeah, and just to kind of highlight what we were saying just a minute ago, most likely if Xander Cruz were applying for a job somewhere, a lot of what you see on here would be on his resume, right? So just thinking about it a little bit more as, I want my client to hire me versus trying to make a sales pitch, right? Just adds authenticity. And as you said, adding images of your team members, adding, details about their life, even, what they like to do for recreation, things like that, add authenticity. It seems real.
There's a question that might be relevant right now. DC Premier Real Estate asks, are videos or photos better? Let's just use it for the example of the about page for now. What's kind of your take? Are you seeing any indicators whether one jumps out ahead in Google's eyes?
That still images versus video, is that what you said, Trevor?
Yep.
Still images are still my preference for this kind of thing. You can use both on the same page if you have really good video content. Because we want to stay focused on fast load times, I tend to go with still images unless you have a compelling video, right? If your video is kind of just, a picture of you up against a wall saying all the things that you wrote down on your page, I wouldn't bother. If you have something that is really compelling, you've got, video of you shaking hands with a homeowner in that market at a very recognizable place, then I would consider it. But again, always keep in mind that load time is a factor in search. So make sure it's compelling and worth it.
I love it. Good advice. Back to you, man.
All right. We can switch back over. Yeah. So as I mentioned, detailed, specific Our Company pages, very, very valuable for authenticity. Thoughtful, human-driven content. We've kind of covered this already, but not letting, an AI bot or, just copying and pasting dictate our content across pages, but making sure that the content matches the focus of the page and adds value. Make it something that someone wants to read. The other pieces, of course, we mentioned real images of people and places just a minute ago, but they add authenticity, right? In a world where you can make up an image in AI or by, however many stock photos, real images with real descriptions add authenticity to your pages. And then the other piece I'll mention here, technically sound site structure is really table stakes these days. If your content is difficult for Google or an AI bot to crawl or understand, or if it's difficult for a user to follow or understand, it's just not going to rank as well. And that technical piece is more important for organic search these days because it's really just an expectation. Google introduced Core Web Vitals several years ago. They've told us that they want sites to perform well, to load fast, and to not be, jumping around in a poor user experience. So make sure that you're on a technically sound platform. I'm happy to say Carrot is one of the most technically sound platforms out there. But regardless, make sure your platform is technically sound if you hope to rank well. All right. Those who lost ground, unfortunately, we do have a few examples. So you can see almost the reverse trend to what we just looked at. That site that had done really well up and to the right after the update. This one, you can clearly see in December, something bad happened. So this site was hit hard after that December 25 update. Why they dropped. So again, some of the things that we've been covering, things like generic sales pitch verbiage, right? Again, we want to think more job interview, more I want you to hire me to do your work versus here's all the reasons why you might want to do business with me, right? It's always a balancing act, right? You need to do a little bit of both. You need to do some selling, right? But you also want to maintain that authenticity because really when it comes down to it, a customer is looking to hire you or your business that you represent. So we want to make sure that we add that authenticity. Duplicate content across a lot of pages. We mentioned this. We want each page to reflect the focus of and purpose of that individual page. If we're making pages that don't have a purpose, then what are we really doing here, right? So every page should have a purpose and a focus. and the content should reflect it. I mentioned stock images. I don't think anyone really intends to leave stock images on their website long term, but you forget, right? It's good enough. I got it. I got it squared away. I've built a website for myself in the past, and I'm guilty of this, right? You work on people's websites all day, and the last person's that you work on is your own. But take the time. Make sure that if you have a place or a person or a pet, some people have pets on their About Us page. I love seeing that stuff. But make sure that you have a real image and that you describe it. The last thing I'll mention that we've seen from sites that haven't performed well, blog posts that cover easily summarized topics, right? That are basically most of the time using an AI bot to write a summary for you on a topic that you think is relevant, and it probably is, but it's really just a summary of a lot of other information that's out there. We want to stay away from something that Google can do. And I put it right at the bottom here. Google summarizes information for searchers on many of its searches already. You've seen AI mode at the top of a search. It's an AI summary, AI mode is its own part of Google, but they're very similar. Google knows how to do this, and Google thinks that it can do it probably better than you can if you just use an AI tool to summarize information that's already out there. So as we've said, if you want to make new content, if you want to make a new page on a specific niche topic or a blog post, keep it relevant to firsthand experience. Describe how your business helps people that are in that situation. Relate the times that you have done so. Use the steps. One of the things that Carrot websites do very well is list out the steps that it takes to accomplish something. Take that a step further. Go through the steps that you took to help that person that was in that situation that ended up being a happy client.
Dude, and one thing that's so cool and powerful there, and kind of the mindset that I want people to adopt, like Eric was saying, is think a lot less about the general topic of, well, I help people who have inherited houses, and think a lot more about, okay, let me tell a story about how I actually helped the person who inherited a house and I solved their problem. And it literally shows a picture of that house. And you might say, hey, how I helped John in Oklahoma City, sell his inherited house and da 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 da. And then it talks about that. Hey, we met a guy named John. John called in on our website here, and he had this property. Now, you don't have to give the address for privacy, but you could give the picture of the property, so people can see a representative of what a type of property is that you buy. And you could, in the alt text, say a property we purchased from an inherited seller in Oak Avenue in Oklahoma City, or something like that. And then just talk about it, right? Talk to John. He had these 5 problems. You might have similar problems. We walked him through these options. Here's some of the options. We dove in. Here's how we made him an offer. Da 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 da. And then if you're going through a similar situation, here's some steps you can take. So, but do it, and then you finish it out. I mean, hey, end of the story. This is how we helped John. John was able to close in 7 days. He got the cash to walk away. He got a price that he was happy with, and blah, 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 blah. Take this next step. So that's a way different piece of content than what a lot of people had been doing for a while, especially right after AI came out, where it was just cranking out a 2,000-word article that was really good, in-depth knowledge about selling a house in probate, but not specific to that company at all.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the focus is that Google's trying to surface content that's good for users. It's also good user experience. The scenario you just described, right? So someone who's reading that is probably going to say, wait, that's the same problem I have. I've seen that problem. I'm trying to solve that problem. It's very powerful, much more powerful than, what you mentioned, which is kind of just generally talking about a topic. So as I said at the bottom, your content should do more. So 3 that you can do this week, 3 SEO in 26 actions. We kept these kind of basic, honestly. These are not rocket science. They aren't that hard, but 3 simple things that I've seen missed on site after site after site that you can easily do to improve your organic rankings this year. Jumping right in. Oh, looks like we had an image in there. NAPW. Now that's an acronym, so it's a little bit of jargon. But if you aren't familiar with it, NAPW stands for name, address, phone, website. Now, you might be thinking, gosh, I've heard about this for years, right? NAPW consistency has been a factor in what ranks in Google, especially for local search, for a very long time. But with this update, some of the data that we've seen, and it kind of logically follows that if your information is consistent across multiple platforms, I've got a slide here that describes it in a little bit more detail. If you have consistent information, consistent name, you've referred to your company the exact same way, using the exact same abbreviations, punctuation, all of it, just down to the last letter, your exact phone number, your address, your website. And again, the temptation sometimes is going to be to use different landing pages in different spots. Just put your homepage in there. It adds to authenticity. If you think about it, Google now wants to know that you are a real business and that you really do business in that market, and that, you know, all of your social platforms that you're, you know, directing people to all refer to you in the same way. You don't have, you know, different entities with slightly different names or anything that would be kind of shady. So that authenticity matters, right? It's mattered for a long time, but we've seen that as even more important. And the reason I bring it up here is it's not something that's that difficult, right? Let's make up our minds on exactly what that information is going to be. How are we going to represent our business going forward? And then let's do that consistently everywhere that we can find our information listed. And then the little graphic I have here. By the way, using AI to create graphics is great. I used it to create this. You won't see this anywhere else. But the NAPW, the, you know, name, address, phone number, website at the very top, right? That's where we do our part. And then we go out and find those citation sources, Yelp's Apple Map, Better Business Bureau, Bing Maps. There's a long list of them that you can go through. Every once in a while, by the way, on this topic, I'll have people ask me, like, what should I pay attention to? What matters the most? If you've heard of it, those are the ones that matter. If you've never heard of it, if it kind of seems like it relates to something else, come back to it later. Let's do the biggest ones that you've heard of that are the most important, or that are platforms that you actually use. Let's start there and then work down the list. It lists out Google Business Profile, primary citation anchor. That is probably the single most important listing or sorts of reviews. Excuse me for just a second. I'm going to grab a little water. We've got a spring has sprung in my part of Oregon, and we got a little pollen in the air. So bear with me. So all those factors contribute into those Google local pack searches, which are very important. But beyond that, that authenticity that Google is now looking for, having your information be consistent across all those sources adds to that authenticity. So as I mentioned, include name, address, phone number, website. If the platform we're referring to lists business hours, make sure those are consistent across all those also. Not all of them do, but if they do, we want to make sure those jive. So common mistakes that we see, as I mentioned, inconsistent abbreviations, an old or a changed address, or, you know, we've included a suite number somewhere and not included it elsewhere. Multiple listings on the same platform. We want to have one single source of truth. So if you find multiple listings, there's usually an option there that you can report that listing as a duplicate, or, you know, if you've claimed yours, you can eliminate it. I definitely would go through that process. Multiple phone numbers or a wrong or missing website. I will mention one thing on multiple phone numbers. A question that comes up sometimes is tracking numbers, right? We want to use tracking numbers to gather that data, but, you know, our tracking numbers aren't going to be consistent. Anywhere that you have the option, if you use a consistent tracking number, you can list that. Make sure your secondary number is your primary phone number that's in the code of your website. It's kind of a wonky technical detail, but it is something that comes up pretty often. So, for example, Google Business Profile, which I mentioned as the most important one, will let you specify a primary phone number, and it'll display that to users, and a secondary. So just make sure you're paying attention to that consistency detail. All right. And here's what carrots look like, right? And we have an example of what I just talked about, right? Google has a different phone number than these other platforms do, right? So on Google, you can specify a main number and a secondary number. Not all platforms will allow it. So make sure that at least that secondary number is consistent with all the rest of them. But as you can see, we've got multiple sources here. We have a consistent address. The name is consistent. We have a consistent website. That's the kind of thing we want to look for. Just make sure those details line up. It's always kind of fun when we call ourselves out too for something, right? We want to make sure it's an example.
And that's one of the benefits too, guys. Like we were saying, we're going as we're going to head in and lead the market in this next phase. Like we've got to bring in a guy to add more horsepower, and that's one of the first things that Eric found, and we'll be working on tightening those up, which is going to be exciting. But guys, everybody probably has some of these issues like this, and they're relatively easy to fix as long as you can get access to that. So this is a great example.
All right. I think this one's you, Trevor.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, guys, so we have this challenge starting next week, the AI Search Challenge. It helps with your normal organic SEO as well. But if anyone is interested in diving deeper and doing 2 hours a day for 3 days next week of execution time, I'm talking we're executing during the call. It's not just go learn and then try to carve out the time. We're executing during the call, give you a checklist every day, give you some AI tools to help accelerate it. Just go to carrot.com/challenge. That's carrot.com/challenge. Just $27 for the standard, or I think it's $99 for VIP. And like I said, guys, every even standard gets the 6 AI tools, gets the days live. If you want the recordings, or if you can't make every day live, get VIP. And then we've got that 4th day, which is a 2-hour session with just me, where it is Google Meet. We can see each other's faces, we can talk, and we're going to help you execute through those challenges that you've got. So, guys, this is something that is amazing, amazing power when you execute it. Join us next week if you haven't already. Back to you, man.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, looking at the price, if you think of how much one lead can be worth, that's a great value. I definitely would encourage anyone to do it. I've taken these in myself. All right. So the second thing, we mentioned NAPW consistency. The second, and again, not complicated, but it's a detail that gets missed a lot of the time, real images and content of things and people. So again, we'll go back to that example that performed really well. We already went through it, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but he's got images of himself and his staff, real people. He's got details about his experience. And again, thinking a little bit less about sales pitch, a little bit more about job interview. So he's interviewing for that job. He wants you to hire him and his company to do business. So things like years of experience, numbers of closings, licenses, background, and then sponsorships or volunteer work are common ways that we can add authenticity to our about page. Those last ones too, I think sometimes get missed. But a lot of our audience does charitable work. They sponsor a local team. They'll volunteer with a local organization. Add that information into your about page. And if you have an opportunity, I know I didn't mention it here, those are great opportunities to add valuable local links to your website. Backlinking is a whole arcane topic on its own, but valuable local links from those local organizations are really the gold standard for backlinks. So if you've done those kind of things, remember that opportunity also. All right. These are some examples. We had kind of a brief list there, but this one's a little bit more detailed on how to bake. And that EET acronym pops up again. EET stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. It's kind of a word salad, but that's what Google is looking for. And again, I've read Google's search rating guidelines. For those who haven't seen those before, Google will algorithmically check its results to make sure it's getting what it wants, but it also has humans review those results, and it gives them a set of guidelines. Here's what you should look for this kind of search. And this acronym has appeared prominently in those guidelines for the last few years. So again, experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So things to include: social proof and reviews, right? That's a big trust signal. You've got, great reviews, you've got testimonials, you've got local success stories. That's great to build that trustworthiness. The why we're different authority position, right? Here's how our process differs from others you might have seen. Explain it in detail, step by step. Here's how many years we've been in business. Here are the examples of real results that we've gotten for our clients. The team and company story. We just spent some time on the About page, looked at photos, authentic photos of the actual team, their bios, a little bit about them, their experience. Again, kind of thinking about that job interview view of how you're looking at your content. And then the why we do this, right? Kind of telling the story. And again, I know I keep repeating it, but similar to how you would do if you were being interviewed for a job, right? Here's why I want to do this. Here's why I want to work here. Build that human trust, that human factor. Guarantees and risk reversal, it just kind of makes people feel comfortable. It adds to that expertise factor also when we say we are so confident in our work, in our product, in our experience that we guarantee it. We can make you a no obligation promise. We can set simple expectations that you can hold us accountable for. And then the last, as I mentioned, clear name, address, phone number, and technical trust signals. Phone, address, we'd like to have a consistent email also. A lot of platforms don't include that, but if, it's good for users. If we see multiple ones out there, we want to know who we're actually talking to. Local business schema. And again, schema is kind of a topic on its own, but local business schema is markup that is included in the back end of a website. So users don't see it, but it's a way to clearly spell out information about your business. We want it to match up with that name, address, phone number, website information that we're putting out there. So in our local business schema, we'll use the correct business name, the address, the phone number, the website, all those things. It's a way that we present that information in a techie format, if you will, to an AI bot or a search engine. And then the last, HTTPS security. HTTPS is the standard anymore. Using secure socket login, which is what powers HTTPS, is if you don't do that, you'll get that security warning that you might see pop up in Google search occasionally. We don't want that. That's a signal that you may be shady. You may be trying to trick someone in some way. The verbiage when you see that actually even says, hey, this might be unsafe content. So it's a technical detail. But make sure that you have dotted that I, crossed that off, that you have an HTTPS compliant website.
And on that, the last one that you had there, Eric, the putting the NAP on the website. One thing that we've done is on our new website builder. So it's something we'll talk about kind of at the end. Automatically in the bottom of your website in that footer and area, we're putting your company name, your address, your phone number. So that's going to be automatic. If you have a website that was launched before, let's say January 2026, if you do not have your company name, your address, and your phone in the footer, we teach you how to do that really easy and quick in the first day, I think it is, of the AI Search Challenge. Or we can do it in the Q&A section of this call. We can just show you how to do that in the Q&A section of this call if anyone does not have your company name, your address, and your phone number at the bottom of it. So let us know if that's you. And we can show you guys at the end of this call on how to do that. And same thing with schema. We have a cool AI tool that we use in the AI Search Challenge that you fill it out, and it gives you a really good, solid set of business schema. And then we show you how to add that to your Carrot site. And these are some things we're looking at. How can we automate these things in 2026? So where we're going is we're going in a world where we can automate your schema. We can automate schema updates. That's where we're heading in 2026 with our product. Right now, you still got to manually add some of those in, but that's where we're heading. It's going to be really, really cool.
Definitely. Yeah, we've got some great tools coming out that'll make it easy for everyone to do all the right things. So this slide, we got a lot on here, but the main takeaway from here, and we can share this out, is here's some examples of how you would add those EEAT elements, right? So experience. And again, I don't need to read it verbatim, but think about real tangible facts about your experience, right? This example, 174 homeowners since 2014, case studies, before and after photos, details that speak to your experience and add that authenticity. Expertise. Here's why I'm an expert, right? And again, it kind of ties in with your experience. Your experience sometimes makes you an expert, but explain the process, explain in detail how you are an expert in that field and what you have done for people. Authoritativeness, as we mentioned, authoritativeness and trustworthiness kind of go hand in hand, but things like review stars, testimonials, logos from media or associations that you've worked with, Chamber of Commerce memberships, Better Business Bureau, things like that that speak to, you are an authority on this topic and you can be trusted. And again, trustworthiness, full name, address, phone number, photos of the team, that adds authenticity. As we've said, we've mentioned it a few times already, but copy that makes someone feel like they can trust you, they can engage with you. HTTPS, as I mentioned, that's the standard. We want to have secure websites. We don't want users to question whether or not they can be safe visiting your site. And I like the last reference there, no spammy hype. I don't have a great description of what spammy hype is, but we all know it when we see it, right? Mm-hmm. So keep it authentic, keep it in a job interview. Here's why you want to hire me to do business with you kind of mentality. All right. I think we have a tool to offer.
Yep. So this tool here, guys, one of the big things you're probably going, shoot, well, what are all the things I should update? Same thing. What I'm doing is we're giving you things you guys can go update today. AI Search Challenge is going to dive deep on it. Anybody that's interested, on day 2, we're going to give you this tool, this AI tool that we made in ChatGPT. And it's not quite magic, but close. So you put in your website URL, you answer a few questions, and it will scan the entire page. And it's going to give you specific things that you can add to that page based off of your real information. So if this is something you want to do and accelerate that, guys, once again, go to carrot.com/challenge, $27 or $99 for VIP. This is one of the tools we give you on day 2, and we're going to make those updates with you on day 2. So check it out. We'll give you this tool and 5 other simple AI tools that you'll be able to keep on using after the challenge as well.
I've had an opportunity to use this tool on a few pages. It really makes it easy for someone to identify all these items. We list out a lot of different things. And on this call, we've tried to kind of identify some simple ones. This tool, though, will give you a long, detailed list that you can, start at the top and work through. All right. So the third item, we said we were just going to have a couple. User experience and speed. And the reason we put these together is that user experience and speed align with each other. They're kind of the same thing. They contribute to each other. One of the things that I have always said is that good search engine optimization is marrying user experience with what's good for the technical experience, right? What's good for the search engine or the AI bot. It turns out speed is crazy important, as I say on the slide, because it matters for both. Right? If we have an element that we can nail that is great user experience and it's great for search engines, that's a great thing to do, right? That's a win. We definitely want to pay attention to that. So if we look at page speed, this is a screenshot from our page speed insights tool. And you can use it for both mobile and desktop. It'll give you different metrics for both because sites load differently on different devices. If you see that performance metric in the red, it means we've probably got a little bit of work to do. Trevor, did you have anything to add on page speed?
Yeah, I'll pop over, Braden, if you can share my screen. So one of the things that you guys can do, whether you're a Carrot member or not, you can go to Google and type up Google Page Speed Insights or something like that, and you're going to find their free tool. And you'll see something like this. So you can put in your URL there at the top. This one I ran literally a few seconds ago. And this is a site that came through our services team. So our pro services team built this site, and it's on our new Carrot platform. And this is where we landed with this. So this one out of the box after that service, it is 100 on desktop. Having challenged this overall, not just Carrot, but in general sites, let's say a year ago or more, was mobile. A good mobile score a year ago was honestly in the 70s. But what started to happen was AI search and Google search started to reward better mobile scores and better mobile speeds as a pretty decent factor. So we said, we've got to get this up to the spot where we're cranking 95, 96, 97 scores on mobile, which is probably top 0.5% of all sites out there is my guess. And you want to get those loading in under 2.5 seconds. Now, for Google search, they care a lot about both the mobile and the desktop. And where we want to really land is under that 2 seconds. If we can on the desktop, I'd love to be under 2.5 seconds on mobile. And you can see where if you really optimize the site, even when it's a lot of content. So I'm going to take this and show you guys that this is a robust website with a lot of, like we've been talking, it's got real photos, it's got real content. Let's pop in here. This has a lot of content, or this has a lot of content, and this even has videos on it. And a couple things that you can do with page speed is, if you're not using Carrot, go to your web developer. If you have videos on there, ask them to what's called lazy load your videos. Okay, lazy loading is a fancy term for make it look like a video on the screen when the visitor's viewing it. This looks like a video, but it's actually an image that reflects the visual of what a video player would look like. That's what we're looking at. That's what we load immediately. But then as soon as someone clicks it, it then seamlessly loads the video. Okay. So that's called lazy loading. So we have videos all over this screen, all over this page, big images, the whole thing. This is a very robust page, and it's still able to to clock in at 100 desktop and under 1 second load time, and at a 97 mobile. So if there's anybody that's on the Carrot platform already, and you're on our legacy system, the system where the majority of our client sites already still are, if you're ready for a redesign, if you're ready for a brand new refresh redesign and want to get those crazy mobile and desktop speeds, we'll give you a spot here towards the end of this call to engage, hop on a call with our team and go through one of our services, our pro services. If you're not ready for a redesign, then what you can do is, once again, go through here. And the biggest thing is look at your images. Usually images are the biggest infractor of a page speed. And so you can go through those images, look at the what it's going to be showing you. And you can even see some of this, like, hey, grab some of these images here. And you're going to resize those images. The next thing that I'll find that's a big issue on page speed, Eric, is your scripts, right? If people have live chat on that website, or they have a bunch of tracking scripts, one thing that we'll usually do is, even though all those systems say, hey, put this in the heading of your website, usually we'll put them in the footer script box. Now that's something you need to look at. Some of those tools may really require it to be in the header, but we'll usually put it in the footer, which means the website can load. It gets loaded insanely quick. It's not being held back by the script. And then it brings the script in at the end, which most of the time, I'd say 90% plus percent of the time, that script is fine loading at the end. Okay. So there's just a couple of the big things to look at outside of just generally the way the site was built. Most of the issues I see in page speed are that the platform itself, the WordPress site that developer built, it was just built wrong. And there's a lot of all-in-one system sites that you just can't make it faster because that's the way that it's built, no matter how good you optimize those pages. So that's where we really focus on it. But if you're on the legacy platform, what I would say, as long as your site's loading on the mobile side, it's in the 60s or 70s, and it's under 3 seconds, you're not going to have a major detractor. I've seen a lot of sites that are non-Carrot sites that are on mobile loading in 16, 17, 18 seconds. And it was a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 custom site. That's definitely costing them leads and deals for sure. But if anyone is interested, pop in the comments box. We can make sure to get you a link here towards the end of the call to set up a call with our team to be able to have us rebuild a site for you that's through the Carrot Pro custom setup.
Yeah, I was going to say the technical term for what you're describing. If you run one of those page speed insights reports, the technical term is render blocking scripts, right? And it kind of makes sense. It's blocking. The script is taking priority over rendering the website on the device. So full play number one. Yeah, as Trevor just said, try and get that desktop and mobile speed to under 2.5 seconds. It's even better if it's under 2. Just kind of think about your own user behavior. Unless you really wanted that website, you're not going to wait around for it to load. So it looks professional. It looks like a good representation of your business. And as I mentioned, if we can have that, if we have that good user experience and it's good for search engines, that's a win. We definitely want to take advantage of that. And we have a graphic here. This one's a little bit more detailed. So this one refers to Core Web Vitals for mobile. Those acronyms all have meanings. If you really want to nerd out on this, we can get into it at some point, but it's probably a topic for another day. Basically, what this is showing you, though, is that if you get that 94, if you see that green, Google has decided that that page performs well, and it's more likely to rank in search. Trying to move on. There we go. Got another graphic. You can see the improvement from one to the other. That speed index at the bottom, less than 1 second. So we've got that first contentful paint. That's when it loads the main content. Less than half a second. We have the speed index at less than 1 second. That's a really fast site that earned that 99 score. All right. Our new website builder. Trevor, did you want to talk to this?
Yep, I'm going to dive in, and what I'll show here, guys, on our screen. Let's do a couple minute quick demo. Like we were mentioning today, what we're really focusing on is the 2-3 simple things that anybody can go execute. And where we're going with Carrot is we're taking the 10+ years of experience that we have, all the data, all the experience. We're doubling down. That's one of the reasons Erica's on the team, is we're doubling down on where can we really step forward and innovate even faster than we have before, and really step ahead and make it so you guys don't have to worry at all about where tech is going, and we can be going there for you. And so you might be a Carrot member who's already on the new platform. If you joined since January, you might be a Carrot member who's been with us for a long time. You know, we have many who've been with us for 10 years plus. And either way, you're in good shape. So one thing I don't want to have you do is worry if you're on the legacy platform, because the legacy platform is still our primary platform. We haven't moved away from that. We're still building on that. We're still innovating on that. We're still making page speed updates across all of our websites. So we're not leaving any legacy sites behind. But the new builder, there's a few things that are easier. And I would say mainly for those who right now want a more flexible design, maybe a different type of a design. We're going to continue to build design and aesthetic tools on the new platform as we build it. And we will have a migration path. It's something I was talking with our COO on literally yesterday. And we were talking to the product team on last week that we're going to be mapping out what that migration path looks like here over this near-term season, and making it so everybody, if they want, can move over to this new platform. And everybody will eventually be on it over the next, I'm just going to make a big, broad time period, so not make any time commitments. Over the next 12 to 24 months, everybody will be on the new platform. Then it will just be Carrot. It'll no longer be the new platform. But here's one that I launched. I tied it to a domain name. It's one that's kind of my sandbox site myself, and I've been playing around with it. So this particular site, when I rolled it out, it hits that 100. It's loading under seconds. This is out of the box. Mobile. There's a couple things I need to optimize on it there. But out of the box, it's insanely quick. And a couple cool things on here that you'll be able to find. When we're talking about on this call, or I had a call a couple months ago where we talked about the high converting website framework that we've built into Carrot websites that make them convert so well. And also that framework not only helps you convert well, but it helps you organize and structure your content in a way that Google loves, the way that AI search loves. So it kind of hits two things at once. And there's a couple cool things. One thing that you guys are going to notice who've been Carrot members for a while, I was on a call with our team last week. I'm like, you know what, guys? I always have to keep on searching for the home page. If I have 30 or 40 pages, I can never find the home page. It's on page 5. So they made a quick update. Your home page is now always at the top of your page listing, so it's quick and easy to find it. But if I wanted to pop in here and do something with the Carrot site platform in the near term, and then I would say medium term, where we're going to be heading and working with clients and working with agencies, is we want to, in medium term, make it so you don't even have to log into a page to make edits eventually, where you can have a Carrot AI system, a Carrot AI assistant that will follow you along. It's not in place right now. Like I said, that's something we're building towards, but a Carrot AI assistant is going to follow you along, and you'll be able to say, hey, can you help me update this content on my about page? and it'll help you do that without even logging into the editor. That's where we're going eventually. Okay, so keep an eye out for those things. And if you want the best of all worlds, AI tools that save you time, but also the performance, then that's where we're going, and that's where we already are in many of the areas. Where some people are looking is, well, shoot, can I emulate these things building my own site through AI, through Lovable or Claude Code? And you could build a site through those platforms. We have people doing it. The challenge is, even the people that know what they're doing, it takes them more time. It doesn't have the data and the experience baked in, so the performance is very likely going to be lower. But now you've bought yourself a job to be a Claude or Lovable website maintainer. And so now you have to go in there. You're the person that's got to maintain it. You're the person that's got to maintain the tech stack, and you've got to be an expert in Claude Code or Lovable to do so. So, and you lose all the innovations that are attached to having the network effect that we have here at Carrot. So there's a couple things that you're going to enjoy moving forward. This is something I was literally working with the team on last week. So this is actually, I'm not going to show it because my team's probably going to go, Trevor, don't show it. It's not ready for prime time yet. But we have some new things that are coming out here in the coming weeks, getting ready for next month's webinar with our PPC landing pages. So keep an eye out for that. We've got some PPC landing page side of things. It's going to be amazing. But you can come in here, and it's far easier to take our high converting optimized structure and start to adjust it. Let's say you want to add in some different reviews. We're developing more designs, more abilities to make things look different all the time. So if I want to drag this aesthetic in here for my reviews, I just drag that right in there, swap out the photos. So a couple things I would do is, just like Eric had mentioned before, this is something you guys can all do today on some of your testimonials. Rather than putting Sarah L. Portland, Oregon, put a little bit more details about Sarah. Maybe you can say sold in inherited house on Oak Ave in Portland in 7 days. See case study. And then you link this up to a blog post about how you did that. So you can take this, you make it look a little bit different, and just really bring in more context on those testimonials. Okay. But there's all kinds of cool things you guys can do with the new builder. Out of the box, they're crazy fast. And we dive in deep detail on the AI search challenge next week on it. But we have many new designs that make them look really, really sharp. So no longer is there going to be the objection of, well, shoot, all Carrot sites look the same. There's no excuse to have your Carrot site look the same as anyone in the market moving forward. And we're completely eliminating that objection altogether. One other thing we're working on right now is what we call AI site generation. So we have a tool that's in beta right now that will literally create for you 3 versions of a site that have different versions of the content. Where we're heading with that very soon is, not only will we create the 3 different versions of a brand new site with AI content based off of all your answers for you, rather than a piece of template content, we're moving towards the world where your actual design is going to be AI driven based off of our frameworks, our knowledge, and in our data. So every site's going to be unique. And so that's something which I'm insanely pumped for. But where we are right now is, if you want to move towards a highly customized site and you don't want to do the work, we'll give you a link here in a bit and we'll pull it up. Actually, I'll just do this right now. You guys can go to this. I don't have it on the slide, but you can go to carrot.com/AI SEO. If you can show this on the screen, Braden. So carrot.com/AI SEO, carrot.com/AI-SEO. And we'll pop that through the comments box. But carrot.com/AI-SEO page that looks just like this. And you'll be able to schedule a time with our team. And it's not a high pressure call. We'll just walk you through what we can do after we learn about your situation. If you're a Carrot member and you're wanting to really revamp things in a big way and have your hands off and move to the new Carrot platform, our services can help you with that. And then if you're not a Carrot member and you want to step into the new world of being able to be ahead of the market on the tech side in a big way, where we're heading, guys, I don't believe that anybody else is going to be able to catch up, including custom websites built from agencies with the platform we already have and where we're going. And so we're going to be setting local search businesses like yours out ahead in a big way with some of the tools we have. But check it out, guys, carrot.com/AI-SEO. You can get a But back over to you, Eric. We're rounding out the end of this call. If you guys do, actually, I'll take it from here. If you guys do have questions, what I'd like for you guys to do is pop the questions in the chat box right now. We've got about 20 minutes or so where we can answer some questions. I'm going to review what we dove into today on the screen. So what we had a chance to dive into was number one, we reviewed the late 2025 Google algo updates and what they were focused on. Eric paired those apart with the most important items that we want people to focus in on, kind of that 20% of things that might drive 80% of the result in the near term. We walked through some of those sites that were rewarded by the updates and why, and some of the sites that were hit. One of the biggies that Eric had talked about was one strategy a lot of people would use for years is they would take and duplicate, as an example on Carrot, they would duplicate the homepage and not customize those location pages at all other than the short code. It would just change out the city maybe. And that's a strategy that we have been averse to for years. We've always said you should customize 30-40% of that page at minimum to be able to really stand out. But now that's something where we're saying, no, every one of those location pages need to be quite different. Like Eric's saying, swap out the photos. You should have photos about that location, not the same photo across 35 different location pages. You should have, ideally, if I'm waving a magic wand, different case studies on those pages that are actual clients in those locations, not the same case study across all 35 location pages. Now, if you don't have case studies in those markets, just swap them out as you do. You should have information about neighborhoods that are in those actual markets and show that you know the area, not just the same information. So that was one of the biggies that I think there's still a lot of people that have the exact same page 35 times just with the city swapped out. So that might be one of your first action items is go through and customize those pages so they're a little bit different. And then we walk through the page speed side of things. If you do have a website, amazing. What we walked you through is going to help you really increase not just your Google search ranking, but your ability to rank in ChatGPT and also the conversion rate. And if you don't have a website, amazing. You can probably get the biggest lift in your business, because if you're doing any marketing at all, if you're doing direct mail or driving for dollars or any type of marketing that's offline, offline marketing, as I've been saying for years, drives online demand. And when people go to search for you in ChatGPT or in Google search, and if they're not finding you, even if you have a Google business profile set up, that website is still the hub. It's still the hub of trust, the hub of truth for Google and for the AI search engine. So this is your chance to really win back leads and deals you're currently losing. And a lot of people will say, man, I do billboards, or I do radio or TV, or I do direct mail. I don't need a website. I get deals done. It's not a matter of whether those marketing channels work or whether you get deals done. It's a matter of how many deals are you losing, right? How many deals are you losing? If you take your average profit per deal, if it's $20,000, and if you're under optimized or don't have that hub of trust website at all, you're definitely losing at least one deal annually. I'm saying at least one, very likely more, depending on the volume of marketing you're doing. If you multiply the number of deals that you're likely losing the past 12 months times your average profit per deal, that is the value of what I call a phantom expense. So if you're losing potentially 2, 3, 4 deals this year and your average profit per deal is 20,000, that no website or that cheap website is costing you potentially $60,000. That might be your most expensive marketing expense that is actually coming out of your bank account. You don't even know it, but it's one of the easiest ones to plug with the Carrot platform. And like we walked through, guys, tons of amazing success stories with our AI search challenge. Come that, because we don't just want to give you a 90-minute call on a Thursday and go, great, go figure it out on your own now. Okay, you're not going to be an expert in 90 minutes with Eric and I giving you a few tips. We're giving you some things you can go do today. But what we want to give you then is, what's the next step to go take it really deep for those who want to really get ahead? And so that's what the AI search challenge is. It's the next step, okay, to take it from the few tips we gave you today. And then we go, now let's really get you 12 to 18 months ahead of those others in your market who aren't taking this time to do this. So carrot.com/challenge, carrot.com/challenge is what we're going to be digging into. So question for you guys in the comments box, and we'll answer any questions. Keep those questions coming through. We are going to dig into them. is I want every single person 100% participation if possible. We've got dozens and dozens and dozens of people on here. I'd love to know, what's the first thing that you're going to tweak on your website this week? Even if just one thing. It could be swapping out one photo on your homepage. I want everybody to write down or lock into your minds one small action item that you can take this next day, this next week. That one action item puts you in a better position when you do that than you were before coming into this call. Just one action item. Okay, so guys, pop in the comments box. What's the first thing that you're going to tweak on your website this week? Let us know. Would love to hear that and love to cheer you on, champion you on. While you guys are thinking of that, yeah, I'm going to answer some of those questions with Eric. So I'll answer this first one, Eric. Caleb Oku is the guy that we had on last month, an SEO expert on the agency side. So Dan says, are you doing Caleb Oku type stuff to get map pack visibility? So right now in our software, and Eric can answer this more effectively on the services side of things and the SEO services side of things. In our software, we do not have features in our software right now that is for map pack visibility. Now, where we are going, because we're going to be really, really building for that local search marketer in a big way, and those local search agencies who want to help businesses like you as well. We are looking at what we want to solve for on local map pack visibility. So that is something we're looking at. It's something we're speccing out what's going to be the best type of tool set in 2026 for you guys, our members, but our software doesn't solve it right now. On the SEO services side, Eric, I know that's a relatively newer thing that we have kind of in what I'm deeming Carrot Labs, and we're going to be moving towards something there. Do we touch on that at all in our current services, or is that something that is more in the training that we do and not something we're doing in the services?
So what we do when someone signed up for our managed SEO service, we take a holistic look at what they're starting with, including Google Business Profile, which is what drives rankings on the Map Pack and Local Pack. As far as a service goes, right now we start with recommendations, but we are looking, as you've said, into offering optimizations for Google Business Profile and the Map Pack as a service on its own that could be added on. We're not there yet. We want to make sure that we do it right. One of the pitfalls that you can run into with working with Google Business Profile is that if you don't follow strictly the rules that Google enforces, you can have your profile suspended. And if it's suspended, it may not appear at all. And undoing that suspension is very difficult. So that's why we're taking kind of a painstaking, methodical approach to how we want to do that as an overall service. As an individual, I've worked with thousands of Google Business Profiles. So, making the updates and making recommendations that help users take the marketing up just another notch by optimizing that profile, that is something that we can offer.
Yep, I love it. And Dan, in the AI Search Challenge, so we do have, and it does really dive into the Google Map Pack visibility a lot. So we're optimizing there alongside you. You're going to be logging into your Google Business Profile. We've got a Google Business Profile audit tool and an optimizer inside of the challenge. And then we're just going to be coming alongside you and saying, hey, make these updates, make it look like this, add these types of services, make these adjustments here. So those are things that you're going to be able to do right there alongside of us in that 20, 30-minute window where we focus on GBP for sure. So yes, the answer is yes. In our training, it is extremely similar to what Caleb teaches in our in-house services and our software. It's not something we're offering yet. But we can guide you on that in that search challenge next week on that for sure. Yep. Good. Well, so guys, pop in the comments box. I'm going to go through and finish out the slides here where you guys are popping. Where are you guys going to execute something from today's training? We'd love to hear just one small thing. But like I said, there's 3 ways that we can help you guys get this done quicker. That new website builder, if you're brand new and not a Carrot member, it's got the speed part dialed in. It's got the HTTPS dialed in. It's got an easier way to add structure in the schema on the website. It's already got the basic structure of the site. It's got your FAQs on there. In the legacy platform, if you've been around for a number of years, we have the ability to add all those on the legacy platform as well. And when you're ready for a dramatic redesign, then that's where we can either bring you into the services to help you with that right now, carrot.com/AI-SEO and schedule a call with our team. Or if you wait a handful of months, we're working on a migration path as we speak. But I can't give any timelines there because there's some big complicated things that make a migration from the legacy system to the new builder work, and we want to make sure we do it right, like Eric was mentioning. The second way that we can help you guys execute this faster is that AI search challenge for next week, and then the third way is to have you go through with our pro services. So this is something that's newer, and I want you guys to know our intentions. So we don't have an intention to build out this big agency. We're not competing with the agencies in our marketplace intentionally. What we're doing is we're building in a micro agency inside of Carrot. I've been calling it Carrot Labs. I would say officially it's not Carrot Labs internally yet, but we're going to move it that way in April. And Eric leads that. Eric leads up the SEO, the done-for-you SEO service side of things. And where we're going with that and why is in order to innovate at the best of our ability to keep you guys ahead of the market, we need to have our hands dirty on some sites. We need to execute the things as we see Google changing things, as we see technology changing. We need to go bring those to the market, see how they react, see how they interact. And that way we have our aggregate data across thousands and thousands of websites and millions of leads. And then we have our micro data across the, a dozen or 2 dozen clients that we're actually doing the SEO for. We take those together and it helps us innovate our product faster for everybody. And it also helps us innovate our content better for everybody. And so that's what Eric is really getting to sink his teeth into right now. And it's newer. We do have some spots open still in that SEO service. And there are things that, like you had mentioned, Dan, there's parts that we don't do yet. And there's parts we do really, really well. So you can hop on a call with our team and just figure out where it is that you're looking to go, what your goals are, and then we'll walk you through exactly where we can serve you and where it may or may not be a fit. But Eric is the guy that's working on those. So it's not something where we have a team of VAs that's doing it. We wanted to make sure that once again, this is for innovation and content and product. It's not something we're looking to scale up 100 SEO clients. We want to really drive the majority of those people who need agencies into our agency partners, but then be able to help a number of them internally for our innovation and content purposes. So go to carrot.com/AI-SEO if you guys want to lean into, see what our in-house SEO services look like. And like I said, Eric, who presented today, is the guy that's actually communicating with you, working with you, rolling up the sleeves on those numbers of sites. So the search challenge, guys, day one. Next week, we're going to be talking about AI indexability and really walking through the foundation. We're going to do an audit using one of our free tools you're going to get in the challenge. We're going to be able to go through and do some Google business profile optimization, give you a GBP audit and optimizer AI tool that's a part of the challenge. We're going to help you get your NAP straight. That's one of the biggest things, right? In day one that people discover, they go, oh my gosh, I've got so many differences on what's going on with my NAP. That alone could make a major, major difference. Day two, then we really dig into the website itself. So we take some of these things we introduced today, and then we go really deep on them. And so day two, we use our on-page optimizer tool, and then we use the schema generator tool that we have for you. You're going to get these tools. We keep on updating them as tech changes, and they've actually gotten better as tech changes. So when we created these initially, ChatGPT has gotten way better in the last 3 to 4 months. These tools got better as well, which is really cool. So day two is really optimizing the website itself from the content perspective. We make sure that you've got the right structure of the content. We're making sure that you're getting, you're looking at where you can add more trust and add more believability and add more real world examples on that site. We make sure that we're really building up that EAT, like Eric was saying. And we then give you a bit of a content plan for building out the rest of that site. And then day three is kind of off-page stuff. Is after you've gotten your foundation done and you've gotten your on-page, 20% of those things that give you 80% of the result. Then we go, great. What are some of the things that are away from your website that AI search and Google search is actually looking at? And so we have what we call a local link finder, a hyper local link finder tool, where you're going to be able to just dig in and put in a little bit of information about your business. And it's going to be able to go out there and that are good hyper local links. We're going to be able to dig into Reddit and how Reddit is really driving some things there. And YouTube, YouTube has been growing even more, even for GPT as an influencer for search overall. And we have a YouTube plan builder in there as well. It'll make your scripts, it'll make everything for you. That's all for $27, y'all, or the 99 for VIP. Like I say, you're going to get a community. The Facebook group is going to be open for about a month or so. During and after that challenge, you're going to get those 3 days live for the $27. You're going to be able to get the AI tools that I've mentioned, which is a Google Meet style Q&A, and we're going to help you guys dig into stuff. So anyway, guys, I'm going to turn it over to Q&A here, see what other questions are popping out, and we'll dig in there. So let's see. Cool. Tweaking the location pages. That was the action item that American Funding Group is going to be taking away, Kevin. And that's one thing. What I would do if I were to give you guys a set of priority is I would say, what are your top 5 locations you do business in? If you have, let's say, 10 or 20 pages out there, pick your top 5 that you do business in, pull them all up into a tab that's next to each other. And I would just click through them and go, great. Are these different? And if not, just pull it up and just maybe one day you tackle your primary location and get localized photos in there and get localized case studies in there and talk a little bit about that area. And day 2, you do the next one. And within a week or so, that's going to be a pretty big improvement and big boost that you should see over the coming weeks or months be rewarded for sure. So I like that one, Kevin. Beautiful. Question here. Great question. I joined the very first AI challenge. Should I join again? Have there been updates? I would say it's still 95% the same because there haven't been dramatic changes from those fundamentals since we launched this back in November. The tools have been refined a little bit, which you already get access to those still. We do talk about YouTube a little bit more in it now because YouTube has grown even more in importance. And we updated a couple other things related to some things on day 1 and day 2. But I would say it's 90 to 95% the same. One thing that we have seen, though, is we've seen people come through it 2, 3, 4 times. And even just carving out that $27, that time just to carve out 2 hours a day for 3 days to go do the work, sometimes that accountability is powerful. You know, sometimes having that community for that week or 2 is powerful, where you can go, well, yeah, I've got the information from 2 months ago when I did it, but I haven't done most of the work. Well, maybe the $27 in the group accountability might help do some more of that work. And so that may be a benefit for you. But content wise, yeah, it is still 90% or so the same. And you can go back to that archive and execute from there. Checklists have got a little bit better. So there have been some things been improved, but I'd say the meat is still the same. Good question. Well, here's where I want to do, guys. I would absolutely love, and I'd be overjoyed if you guys would do this for me. Okay. I would love for you guys to give Eric a gift today of your appreciation in the chat box, because this is our first official training that we've had a chance to bring Eric in. I kind of threw him through the gauntlet on this training, gave him less than a week. We made it actually less than a week for sure. And we had a chance just to dive in. It's been a joy working with you, Eric, on decently short notice. And you dove in and just trained the heck out of this topic. So I appreciate it big time. Guys, let's blow up the chat box for Eric and thank him for his knowledge that he brought today. You're going to be hearing a lot more from Eric in the Carrot community over the coming months and years. So let's blow it up for Eric, guys. But Eric, any final comments, parting words for the group here?
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's been kind of fun, just a couple of guys talking SEO and marketing. I just wanted to say, though, one of the things, I've been at this for a while, as we mentioned. One of the things that I like to do is explain the why, right? So if you've been, following along with the content and there was a piece of it that you're like, man, I just don't understand why, I'd love to hear about that. Trevor's given us a couple ways that you can reach out and contact us. But I love to dig into the why. To me, the secret sauce that makes good search engine optimization is the art form, right? It's marrying the technical and the personal, right? It's making it good for search and making it good for users. So that would be my ask. is if you have a why type question, run it by us.
Yep.
I'm happy to provide a detailed answer.
Love it. And guys, what I was pulling up here is our Facebook group. So if you guys have not joined our Facebook group yet, I'll pull it up here on the screen, and you can just go to Facebook and type up evergreen marketing for real estate. And this is an area that we're digging into in a big way. So pop in your questions here. Okay, if you have questions about your website, about SEO, it could be about Google pay-per-click, it could be about an algorithm change. This is where our team is looking at it. You're there with 2,000 other people in the Carrot community digging in. There's topics that get posted every day. And that's something, guys, start there or tune into these trainings that we do every single month. I think those are two of your best spots to really be able to plug in the Facebook group, number one. So not only the Carrot team can serve, but also the community can serve you. These trainings, number two, we do them towards the back part of every month, and there are going to be some new topics. Keep an eye out for the next training next month. It's going to be more on the, very likely on the PPC side of things. We still got to make a couple decisions there. And then keep the questions coming, guys, because we don't expect you guys to be, ahead of the market. That's where we want to be, is ahead of the market. We want to be able to answer your questions and make it easier for you. And as long as you hitch your wagon to a company or a person that's moving ahead and that's plowing ahead faster than everybody else, you are naturally going to be ahead of everybody else as well. And I think one of the challenges that people have seen in this market is there's a lot of options that pop up, right? There's new options that pop up all the time to go build a website or to go do SEO or do PPC. The thing I would ask you is, do you want to hitch your wagon to a company that's going to be here in 10 years, still innovating? Or do you want to hitch your wagon to a company or somebody that has been doing it for a handful of years and they may be gone in 2 to 3 years? And one thing I can tell you guys is we're going to be here in 10 years. We're going to be innovating. We're going to be still moving forward. We're not going to be perfect all the time. We make mistakes just like everybody. And like I've talked in recent webinars, that I would say that we weren't as ahead as we wanted to be, and for about a year or two. And that's where we've re-equipped things really well. It's like, all right, we've been here for 13 years. We're going to be here for the long term. For those who want to grow for the long term, we're right with you. So appreciate you guys big time. Thank you, Eric, for hopping on with us. Guys, hit us up in the Facebook community. Go join the challenge next week, carrot.com/challenge. And if you want to hop on a call with our team to discuss us doing a lot of this work for you through our services, either the website setup services or our SEO service in Carrot Labs, you can go to carrot.com/AI-SEO. And the only reason that it's that URL is because that's the only URL I've got in my mind already, Eric. There's probably a better URL to drive people to, but that is not just about AI SEO. That's just how to go talk with someone on our team. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate you, Eric. You guys have an amazing rest of the day, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.